Hello class, this is Mr. Brzezinski speaking. Today what I'm going to do is talk you through how to use the Finder. Now you may know some of these things, but I'm going to talk you through some higher end stuff and some trickier things that you may not already know. So follow along and hopefully you learn something. Let's first examine the dock. At the lower part of your screen right here, you will see the dock. And if you hold the mouse over top of any of these objects, you will get the name of that application. These are the applications, or programs as you might refer to them as, that are in the computer and are easily accessible through using this dock. So without further ado, let's scroll the mouse over to the Happy Mac symbol. We may call this the Happy Mac, or the blue smiley face, or just plain old Finder. If you click on the Finder, a window will open up, and the window should be set to your student account, as you see here. This folder right here, we will notice that there's desktop, documents, downloads, all sorts of folders inside the student account. However, this is not the server account. This is not where you want to save things. This account is on the computer that you're looking at, that you're sitting in front of right now, not necessarily on the server. So we are not going to be saving to this account. When you are saving to the server, you will notice that this will not say student here. It will actually have your name at the top of the window, at the title bar for the window. So when you see a documents and desktop and all this other stuff with your name at the top, that's going to be your server folder, and that's where you want to save. Now let's take a look at what we call the sidebar. Down the sidebar, you'll notice a few things. Up top, you'll have the hard drive, which is the hard drive of this computer. Then you'll have a bunch of computers that you could hook up with. And then you also have places, which is your student account, your desktop folder, which would take you automatically into this folder right here by clicking on desktop. Documents, which will take you into this folder right here just by clicking on the sidebar. And you could also add things such as the library. If I grab a hold of it and drag it to the sidebar here, now I have a shortcut to the library. But I do not need that, so I'm going to get rid of it right now. Whew. And I just poofed it out of there. Let's examine the applications at the moment. So in the sidebar, you click on Applications, and it will take you to another window here with all sorts of crazy looking icons. These are all the programs that are on the computer. Some of them you are able to use, some of them you are not. So you can take a look that there's so many programs on here, and that the dock at the bottom of your screen is showing you just a sample of a couple of these that you will be using in class. Let's now take a look at the Finder back button. Okay, this is a Finder window, and if I click here, it works a lot like a Internet Explorer or Firefox web browser. I can click back and it will show me the previous folder that I was on. So if at any time that you go through any of these folders and you're in a folder inside of a folder inside of a folder, you can always hit the back button and that will take you back one folder back into the movies, and then click back and then back into the student account. So you can navigate through your windows that you've already opened by using these navigation back and forward button. If you've seen something previously on this screen and you need to get back to it, just use that back button right there. The next set of buttons over are what we call the view. Okay, and you could show the icons in different types of view. Right now they're in the icon view. As you can see here, each file has its own icon on top of it. Now if I click the list view by holding it over top, I can click on the list view and it will line up all the folders in a straight row, and right now they're being organized by name. Okay, so the name from least to greatest is how they're organized right now. There's also one more view, which is the column view. So I click on the column view, and now I can go through the folders like I did earlier. I can click on movies. It shows me what's inside the movie folder. I click on movie, and then again, my first project is over here. Now if I want to see it in a different way, all I have to do is click back, and then you can see I'm back into the folder that was all the way out here on the edge. If I switch to view, again, I'm inside of movies, I'm inside of iMovie projects, and then my first project. Okay, so that is the pathway that it's traveling down. And you could also view it in a preview mode right here Whereas if you have some type of multimedia project, you can press play and it will preview that movie for you. Will give you some features of the Finder window, including if you wanted to start a new folder, open the current file that you have highlighted. You can open it here. You can open it with a different type of program and all sorts of other features here. We rarely, if ever, use this button right here. Moving up at the top of the Finder window now, we have a set of 3 different buttons. I like to call them the stoplight. We have the red button, yellow button, and green button. The red button will obviously take away the window. So I click on it and it closes out the window. And I just brought it back. So the red button will close that window. The yellow button will minimize that window. If I click on the yellow button, you will notice that the window will slide down into the dock on the right-hand side. Now down over here on the right-hand side, just next to the waste paper basket, I see the student account. Okay, so now that is the folder that I was just looking at that I just minimized. I click on it and it brings it back to life again. As you can see, I'm back in the student account. Yellow button puts it in the dock. Click on it from the dock and it opens it back up again. The green button zooms to fit the icons. So if I need more room or less room to open it up so that I can see the most amount of icons here, I can click the green button and that will adjust the window size for me. Sometimes you use it, sometimes you don't. Not a big deal. Let's now examine these folders next to the waste basket down here on the bottom right-hand side. This is my student folder. Again, this is on the computer, not the server. But if I click on it, it will expand up and out and show me all the folders that are inside that Finder window that I was looking at just before. So this is the student account. So if I click on Finder and I get a window open, you'll see the student account, desktop documents, downloads, all these things. I'm going to close this down by hitting the red light right now. And then I'm going to click on this and you can see all the same folders are up right in here. The next one over is called Documents. And these will be the documents that are on this computer. You should not save here. We shouldn't see any more than these files ever in this folder because we don't want to save to the computer. We always want to save to the server. What I like to take a look at now is what we call the command key. The command key shows up on either side of the spacebar. You can see the keys blinking on the diagram of the keyboard right in front of you. Previously, on other versions of the Apple computers, they had a picture of an apple right by the symbol that shows up right there. Since then, they took off that apple and they called it the command key. This key by itself will do nothing. By holding down the key, it will do nothing. However, when you press another key in combination with that key, you will then have a command or the computer will be told to do something. For instance, if I hold down the command key and I press the letter N, it will open up a new Finder window. As you can see, it popped up right over here. Okay, and Apple W right here, Apple W will now close that window down. Apple W. So if I do Apple N, it opens the window. Apple W closes the window. Apple N, Apple N, Apple N, Apple N, Apple N. I can get multiple windows open. And then I can do Apple W, Apple W, Apple W, Apple W. And that will take down the windows. So Apple N to open a window. Apple W to close down the window. And I can keep a hold of the command key the entire time. How do I know what keys to hit to do what? It's all up here in the menu. If I go up to the Finder menu and I click on File, you will notice it says New Finder Window. And it has that same symbol that's on your keyboard right here. Same symbol, and then N. So by holding down this button and pressing the letter N, it opens up a new Finder window. It also says to close a Finder window, I would need to hit Apple W. So I can tell what a whole bunch of these keys are just by checking out the hotkeys, what I like to call them hotkeys. Okay, so Apple N will open up a new window. And then if I hit Apple W, and you notice the file will flash because that's where the command is coming from. There's a whole bunch of keys for every menu item up here. Apple Z to undo something that you've previously done, Apple A to select all, paste, copy. All of these features have different icons. You can navigate around the Finder very quickly by knowing these hotkeys, these key combinations using the Command key. Before we move on, I'd like to show you how to cycle through windows. So if I open up a series of Finder windows, Apple N, Apple N, Apple N, Apple N, okay, and you will see that there's a bunch of windows here, okay, and I want to cycle through, we call it cycle through the windows, which means I want to rotate this window to the back and show the next one. To do this, I hold down the Command key and I press this little ñ symbol, if you know Spanish, above the Tab key on the right hand side. It's right here, okay, on your keyboards. It's that little mark there. So I hit boom, 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 and it will cycle through all the windows that I'm currently looking at in any application. This becomes very handy when I'm working in a Internet Explorer or Firefox or any type of web browser, because I may have one web page showing me one thing and another web page showing me another, and I can cycle quickly through all the pages by pressing down that key, as you see right here above the Tab button, to cycle through all the different windows of the web browser or the Finder window or whatever program I'm in. Anything with multiple windows open, I will be able to cycle through and see which is which. That we close down all other windows, so Apple W, Apple W, Apple W, until no more windows are open. Now I like to investigate the dock. So if I slide my cursor down here, my mouse down to the dock, I'm going to check out Pages. So I click on Pages and it's going to open up a menu for me. We're going to get into the applications now. Pages will open up to a template chooser. I want to choose the blank. I just want to keep it simple for now. Just double click on the blank and it will open up a blank project. From here, I can just start to type a little note. Hello, mutter. Hello, fodder. Okay, doesn't matter what I type. I could just use the keyboard, type a whole bunch of stuff. What I'm going to do though is notice that up at the top of this window, this little red dot turned to a circle instead of an X. That means that this project needs to be saved before I can move on. This has not been saved yet. So what I'd like to do is show you how to save a project. At the top of the file menu right over here, I can go up to File and click on Save. You will notice there's also a hotkey for this. It's the Command S or Apple S. Now you never want to save to just any old place on this computer. You would normally click this drop-down arrow and select your server name from the left-hand side. However, we didn't log onto the server yet, so right now we'll just do a generic test. We'll call this thing Test. So just name it Test, and let's find a folder that we can save it to. It won't let me save it to the documents because I don't even want to save it to the documents because it's on this computer and I might lose it later. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scroll down on the left-hand side column, and normally I'd look for my name right here, but I'm going to look for the student folder, and then I'm going to look for downloads. Let's click on downloads, and let's save it as test into the downloads folder. Now I click save, and it will go right to that downloads folder. Let's try to find it now. Down here at the bottom of the screen, I will see that I have my documents folder, my student folder. It's going to be in my student folder. I click on the student, and now I'm going to look for downloads. I click on downloads right from this menu right here, and up pops a window. It says downloads. Okay, and there's the file called test. That file is this project right here, and it's inside the folder called downloads. Now that I'm finished saving my file, I'm going to now close it out. I want to close Pages, the program Pages. Notice that this says Pages, and if I click anywhere in the background, it will revert back to the Finder. Okay, make sure that this is a very important part of the Finder, that if I click on the Pages, it brings this window to the forefront, it highlights the, uh, the stoplight, and if I click outside of it, it dulls it and it brings up my Finder first. So if having two windows open at the same time, you'll notice I click on one, it's going to be Pages. I click on the Finder window, and it goes back to Finder. Pages and Finder. Notice that the menus are different. The Finder, remember the Apple N was a new Finder window? It's not going to be the same in Pages. This is a new Pages window or a new Pages project. Okay, so you need to be careful when you're using the hotkeys that you are in fact inside the program that you want to be in before you start hitting those hotkeys. So right now I want to quit out of Pages. I'm going to click on Pages, scroll down, or I can use the Command Q key to quit out of Pages. If I changed something before I saved it, I need to resave it, and you could just click Save after you're done. Now going into the Downloads folder from my Finder window or from the dock, let's look at that. I'm scrolling down to the dock here. I got my documents open, and you'll notice that I have my file right here. Now I don't need my file, but I'm going to use this opportunity to show you how to throw something away. You take a hold of the file that you want to throw away, okay, and you move it to the trash can. So I'm going to take this file and I'm going to drag it right over top of the trash can. Boom. And it says, do you want to trash it? And I'm going to say, yes, I want to trash it. I'm going to drag it over top of and let it go. And it now takes the project or that file out of the Documents folder and places it into the trash. If I need to find that trash again, I can come back. You'll see here, it says trash, and there is that file that I was looking for, or that I just placed there. Okay, so now I can close it. It's the trash folder. Close that down. You notice it's missing from my documents. It's now inside the trash. To empty the trash, I simply click and hold on the trash can. Click your mouse and hold, and it says, do you want to empty the trash? You click on empty the trash, and it deletes the trash, bringing up this window right here. Empty trash, are you sure you want to? Yes, I do not want anything in the trash folder. You can do all of those steps on your own right now. As we go through class, we will be saving to the server, like I've mentioned many times before. To get to this server that I speak of, you go up here to the Go menu. I click on the Go menu, and the bottom of the Go menu says Connect to Server. So you can see right here, the Go menu, it says Connect to Server, or the Command K, Apple K, Command K, however you want to say it. You click on Connect to Server to open up the server window. Now there's a couple files in here. I can connect to the BASD 2015, 16, or 17. These are your years of graduation. Okay, so I have, this would be 8th grade students, and then the next year the 7th grade students would graduate in 2016, and the 6th grade students graduating in 2017. So you would have to then select the server that you have your files in that you're graduating, your class grade. So again, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. When I double click on the BASD 2017, you'll notice it'll ask me for a name and a password. You would then type in your identification number and type in your password, and it should connect you to a folder that will then be where you're going to save everything with your documents, your desktop, all those files that we already looked at will be a separate file on a server, and that's where you want to go. If you do not have your password yet, we can see Mr. B about that later. Now that is it for our introduction to the Finder. There's only one thing left to do, and that's to log out of the computer. At the end of class every day, what you want to do is log out of the computer. This will take away all your servers that you have loaded, and it will also try to close down all the programs that you have running. So any work that you have to finish before you shut it down. You need to save that work to your server, and then you can come up here to the blue apple and select Log Out Student. You're logged in as a student. You need to log out student. It's at the bottom of this list right here. At the bottom of the Apple menu, right here, Log Out Student. Okay, and when you click on Log Out Student, a window will appear, and it will say, are you sure you want to log out the student? You log out the student, and again, this will shut down all programs, and it will eject all servers that you have running at the time. It will take them away so that no one else can get to your files. So if you click on Log Out, but notice Log Out is highlighted in blue. When you see a key highlighted in blue, that means by pressing the return key, you will automatically be pressing that highlighted button. So I can press on the return key now, and it will then try to log out the account for student. So it'll close out the account for student and be ready for the next person to come in and take control of the computer.